Hi everyone. I want to say a big thank you for watching my previous video. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So today I'll not really today alone. I think for the next 2 to 3 weeks I'll be talking about the Canadian Express entry. That's for the Canadian permanent residents. I've had a couple of friends send me DM on WhatsApp, on Instagram, asking, Jenny, how did you do it? And it's so funny when I tell people that actually I did not use an agent. Some people don't believe. Sincerely, what are you paying the agent for? You're just paying him to research for you. You're paying him to read up, because at the end of the day you're providing all the documentation. When I mean all, like every single thing, you're gonna be the one providing all the documentation. Trust me, he would not write the IELTS for you. You already have a degree, you already have a certificate. He would not get one for you. He wouldn't forge it for you. And trust me, it's not even wise to forge any of your documentation for the Canadian Express entry application. It's actually so easy. And for the next 2 to 3 videos I'm going to be uploading, I'll be explaining what you need to know, the basics. I would also explain about the provincial nominations, even though I really don't know so much about the provincial nomination. I could talk about the one for Ontario, Saskatchewan, and what other province? Maybe New Brunswick. Yeah, I'm very sure of those three. And hopefully I get a friend of mine who also knows so much in that about those provinces too. I could get her to come, talk to us about it. So for the Canadian Express entry, popularly known as EE, or for the PR, for the Canadian PR, trust me, it's actually very straightforward. And first and foremost, before you relocate, just so you know, relocating from your comfort zone, like leaving your comfort zone, takes a whole lot. Trust me, guys, it takes a whole lot. Like leaving your comfort zone, going to an entirely new environment, it takes a lot of adjusting to do, understanding their way of life. It's really a whole lot. So first and foremost, you have the first step, if you ask me, is deciding on relocating and why you want to relocate. Please don't be part of those who are relocating because all of a sudden Canada is trending. Trust me, there are a lot of bottlenecks and challenges, and you'd have to fall back to the reason why you're relocating. And if your reason is just because all of a sudden everybody is going to Canada, that would not be strong enough for you to keep fighting, or for you to keep up the struggle for the highly coveted PR. So it takes a decision for you to come here, and it takes having good reasons. Why do you want to come? Or maybe for better life, maybe for yourself, for your kids, whatever reason. There are 1,001 reasons why people relocate, which is actually very different from persons to persons. First and foremost, identify that reason why you want to relocate. Once you already identify that reason, genuine reason, set your very deep heart, and you're good to go. Then the next step is actually finding how you qualify. Trust me, everybody qualifies for the express entry, but just so you know, there are no two applications that is the same. The application for Mr. A is entirely different from the application for Mr. B, because no two people have the same profile. Trust me, it's very rare. Circumstances are different. There's a whole lot to it. If you're relocating, the next thing for you to do is use the tool. There's a tool called CRS. Just go on Google and type CRS Canada. It's a very short form. I couldn't just get over the fact that 2 Sundays ago a friend of mine called me and he was like, hi Jenny. I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? He said he paid online for an assessment to find out if he qualifies for the Canadian Express entry. And I'm like, oh really? Like, tell me about it. And he said he paid, I can't remember how much, but maybe about $100. And I'm like, really? It's free. Just Google CRS Canada. Trust me, there is no more than one CRS Canada on Google. It's just one. It's a very short form. And trust me, whatever you fill on that form is just the same information you fill when you're entering the Canadian Express entry poll. The form has questions like, okay, your marital status, your education, your IELTS score, then if you have French, you have your French scores as well, then, you know, just those basic questions. And trust me, the score you get on that too is the same score you get when you enter the Canadian Express entry poll. Trust me, there is no difference. There is no difference whatsoever, guys. Once you can go through that, find out how you qualify, then you're good to go. And trust me, guys, for the Canadian Express entry, the game changer is your IELTS, like your IELTS. Your IELTS is the game changer. Yes, for someone who is single and less than, let's say, 30, I'll tell you, aim for 8777. That's if you have a master's degree. Trust me, if you have a master's degree, you're single, you're less than 30, aim for 8 in listening, 7 in reading, 7 in writing, 7 in speaking, and trust me, you'll be scoring as high as 472 or 470. That's why it's a lot easier. The first thing you do is to go on the CRS Canada and find out how you qualify. That way you know what you're working on. You don't have a master's degree. Oh, there's another way out. You have another certification you've done. Or let's say someone who did who has OND and also has HND or also has BSc. Trust me, you qualify for 2 or more certificates. Or you have a BSc and you have ACCA, or you have CFA, or you have one of those recognized certification. Even on that too, there is a link where you can click on. It shows you all the other certificates that qualifies you for a 2 or more certification. Yes, because your education degree also matters too. Someone who is single, let's say someone who is 29, single, has a master's degree, has 8 in listening and 7 in the other components of the IELTS, and someone who is the same age, the same IELTS, but maybe has only a first degree. Trust me, the scores are so different, and it will amaze you how much points that person is losing. Yes. And let's not forget the IELTS part, because trust me, one of the challenges I had was IELTS. If your IELTS is bad, let's say you need an 8777, that's 8 in listening, and you say you had let's say 7.5 in listening and 777 in the other components, trust me, you're losing as much as 50 marks. Is that crazy? Yes, even with your master's degree. So that's why it's advisable you go to the CRS Canada portal. It's actually a very short form. Anybody can just, just click on it. It's not even going to ask you for your personal information. It's just going to ask you what you are, what your profile is. It's a very easy way to profile you. That way you know what I qualify for, what I need to work on. And there's some people that, hey, when they check the CRS, oh, okay, if I get this in IELTS, I'm fine. But because they don't have a master's degree or they don't have an additional certification, that way on that poll you get to know, on that tool rather, you get to know what you need. And some people go as far as taking up a course they could do within a short period of time. Some people even go as far as taking up a master's program that is very short and easy to just get done with. So once you already can profile yourself, and don't forget guys, when you're married as well, it affects your score. Please don't feel bad that you're married. I beg, marriage na better thing. Please, I'm sorry for my pidgin, but you know, when you're married as well and you have the same profile as someone who is single and has 472, trust me, because of your spouse you lose, you know, because of your marital status you could lose some points. But how can you manage that? It's a good thing your spouse can also contribute some points to you. Your spouse can write IELTS, and trust me, if your spouse can score 6,666 in all the components, you get some good points, as much as 20. Yes, and your spouse can actually evaluate his own degree or certification. You earn points too. You know, that is why the first thing you should do is actually go to the CRS tool and find out how you qualify. No two candidates are the same, because we can have the same demographic. We could be the same age, we could have the same educational qualification. What if we don't have the same number of years of employment? You know, that's another thing. There are different factors that affect this thing. That is why the first thing is to use the CRS Canada tool. Once you're done with that, and hey, you're good, you know, okay, I need to ace my IELTS, I have a master's degree, or I don't have a master's degree, and whatever the CRS tool gives you, that determines the next phase they're gonna, you know, go through. Once you're done with that, go ahead, write your IELTS, go ahead, do your evaluation. And there are different bodies that do this evaluation. There's ICES, there's IQAS, there is WEST, the very popular one, and there is one other one, but I think the very popular ones I'm very familiar with is ICES, IQAS, and WEST. Go ahead and send your certification. Find out from the site. Just Google this thing, just put it on Google. It takes you to the site, and you know what you need to provide, your passport and your certification. You send it to them. By the time you're done with that, you write your IELTS, because to enter the pool, you can't enter the pool without your IELTS and your educational certification. Yes, you can't enter the pool with only IELTS. You can't enter the pool with only your educational evaluation, because for your educational evaluation there's a unique number that everyone has. You have to fill that in, and trust me, you wouldn't want to forge that, because whatever you impute on the express entry poll, it stays there. There is an audit trail that actually sees all these things. You can't all of a sudden just wake up and change anything just like that, because your demographic does not change. I can't wake up and say I am 30 today, and tomorrow I say I'm 35, or tomorrow I wake up and say I'm 28. You know, those are the things people need to watch out for. Then once you have your IELTS and your educational certification, voila, you're ready in the pool. Get it in the pool. Start gathering your documentation. And another thing again that gives points is your number of years as an employee, or as a working class, or as a professional. Yes, and it doesn't stop the fact that the self-employed cannot apply to. It's another metrics that add points to you. If you have 3 years, 3 years is actually the maximum. Like, no matter the number of years of experience you have, you're getting the same point. Someone who has 10 years working experience gets the same point as someone who has 3 years. It's when it's below 3 years the points varies. Someone who has 1 year is different from someone who has 2 years, but 3 years and above, they're all the same. Once you have that, you get into the pool and start gathering your documents. And what are the documents you're gathering? You claim to be working for 3 years, or how many years you worked. You need to get your employers for a letter from your employers, and there's a format for that letter. I would actually discuss gathering documentation in my next video, but for now I just want to explain those basic things. They're just those very few things you just need to get ready for: your IELTS, your evaluation of your certificates, just to enter the pool. And when entering the pool, trust me, you would want to fill your form correctly. You fill your name just as it is in your passport, your your IELTS score, please don't switch numbers. Don't make that mistake, because someone who has let's say 8.5 in listening, 7.5 in writing, 7 points in speaking, 7 in the other one, and someone who has maybe some changes, the points are always different, even though they have almost the same demographic. So you'd have to be careful when entering the poll, like really extremely careful. Maybe because I'm a very, very meticulous person, but you would have to be careful when entering the poll, because the truth is, anything you submit, you just have to justify it. Once you enter the band, trust me, what's the poll? What's really the poll? Like, when people hear poll, it's always like there's so much. Trust me, there's nothing. It's just a form you're filling. You're filling a form about yourself. You're telling someone who is not saying you about you. Yes. Once you get into the poll and you have a very good score, okay, you've done your CRS, you know what you need, you work towards those factors that you need to work for, you get those points and get into the poll. Once you get into the pool, you feel everything, your educational history and your travel history. And talking about travel history, if you have been refused a visa before, please do not hesitate to state it there. These guys can be crazy like that, right? Yeah, because they have relationship with some countries. I really don't know. I really don't have a full list of those countries, but I'm very sure of the UK and the US. Even though the refusal is 10 years ago, you'll be shocked at how much these guys keep records. Fill the form as honest as possible. I've actually heard of someone who overstayed in the US and yet he still got his Canadian permanent residency. Trust me, it doesn't stop anything. All they just want you is for you to be honest. State the reason why, and that's all. Because little mistakes like this can earn someone a ban of as much as 5 years or lifetime. Yes, and that is why you see the agents can leverage on the fact that you don't know all these things, and they collect your hard-earned money for no reason, my people. For no reason. They just collect it because of all this information. Once you get into the pool, if your score is that high, trust me, I had reasons to update my score like less than 2 days before the next draw, and I got my ITA, that's the invitation to apply. I had a friend who got into the pool same day and he got ITA that same evening. Once you qualify, that is why you need to do that assessment first, so you know how much you qualify. I've had people who will say, hey, I've been in the pool for 1 year until you got expired. Before you get into the pool, do this work. Find out what you need, because as soon as you get into the pool, you are getting your ITA if you meet up the cutoff. And now that the points are really very high, it will be nice to do your homework before you get into the pool. Well, I would say it's really not, you really don't have to. Once you have your IELTS and educational evaluation, you can actually get into the pool while maybe you're improving your score or evaluating an additional certificate. But once you have a high score, you're good to go. And the next thing is your proof of funds. That's another thing. I would also be talking about proof of funds. Some people will say, because I don't have the money. You don't have to wait until you have the money. Start doing other things that doesn't require you spending so much. Yeah, some people start their application before they even gather their funds, and before the time they will submit their application, they already have everything. They already have the proof of funds. There are other ways to it too. Once you have all those documentation and you get into the pool, you qualify for the points, like the points needed, and you get your ITA. And that's where the next is really a major job. It's really not major, provided you don't lie about your qualification, because getting those documents won't be hard if you don't lie. Yeah, and my next video I'll be talking about the documents, how you gather your documents, how you put everything up together, and trust me, it's an easy process. Even in the description section, I'll be making some notes just in case you have to. I'll put the link of the CRS there, so you can actually look through. These things are actually very easy. Okay, thank you for watching. Thanks, bye.